This happens in every single thing we do in life. I wish it wasn't true, but it's true. Let's talk about it.
I'm Christy Code Red, and you're listening to Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle, where we believe food holds the power to heal or poison, and we believe our society has been misled regarding proper nutrition and weight loss. You're in the right place if you're looking for some straight up truth, because I'm here to shed light on the lies and brainwashing that has taken place over the past 5 decades. Thanks so much for listening.
Welcome back to another episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. I'm your host, Christy Code Red, author, entrepreneur, retired professional boxer. And in this episode, I'm smiling because I know you guys are all going to shake your head and laugh. And you're like, yeah, I know. We're talking about when the newness wears off. When the newness wears off. And it's so funny because it happens in everything we do. And you know, Mary Kay Ash, the founder of Mary Kay, she talks about this in her book. And I wish now it just popped into my mind because I would have done some research. I would have looked up her quote before I pushed a button, but I pushed a button. So here we go. She talks about anticipating something is far better than the actual something. Now, I don't really agree with that in every single thing in life, because I just bought a dress and I was excited to get it, but Katie barred the door. It is way better than I thought it was going to be. So the actual dress itself is better than the anticipation of it. So, but for the most part, I agree with Mary Kay. I think she's right. I think anticipating things, oftentimes is bigger than the actual thing that's happening. And so when we talk about the newness wearing off, you know, we're all so excited to be a new bride. We're excited to just first start Code Red. We're excited to just first start college. We're excited starting that new job. We're excited, signing up for a cruise, and you're excited for the vacation. There are so many things that you are so excited about before they happen. And then you get into the middle of it and the newness is worn off. There is an episode of Friends towards the end of their 10 season run. I love Friends. I've seen every single episode. I can almost quote every single episode. I love it. And Monica and Chandler had just gotten married. And Monica says, and Nicole Curtis, if you're watching, you are the biggest Friends fan I've ever seen. And I know you're going to know what I'm talking about. Nicole, do you know what I'm talking about? The episode of Friends, Monica and Chandler just got married and Monica is depressed. And finally, I think Jennifer Aniston, Rachel said to her, "Mom, what's wrong?" And she was like, "I'm just bummed out." And she said, "Why?" She goes, "I used to be a bride, but now I'm just somebody's wife." And she was all upset. And they were like, and Chandler goes, "Well, I'm the happiest guy on the planet." He's always so sarcastic. May he rest in peace, Matthew Perry. That's so sad that he passed away last year. But yeah, she was upset about, I used to be a bride and now I'm just somebody's wife, because the newness had worn off. Do you notice with Code Red, when you are gearing up for a challenge, we have 10-pound takedown every other month on Facebook, and then we have them ongoing in the Code Red network. If you want to just join at any time, you don't have to wait till the next one starts. But on Facebook, it's kind of happening in real time with, hundreds or thousands of people at once. And it's a lot of fun. It's all kind of everybody's going through it together at the exact same time. And usually sometimes in the Code Red network, when you start, at 2:00 on a Tuesday, everybody's kind of starting at different times. So the Facebook 10-pound takedowns tend to be very exciting. It's all happening in real time. And we have these every other month because 30 days. Anyway, during the 10-pound takedown, everybody's so excited the week leading up to the start and the week after the start. And why is that? Because the week leading up, everybody knows about Code Red. You know about Code Red. Even people that hate me know about Code Red. Even people that don't even like the proper human diet, they even people who take Ozempic will still say Code Red is better. I've heard people actually say, who are taking Ozempic or taking phentermine pills, they'll say, I had such great success on Code Red. Like they'll say it. And the first thing in your mind was, why don't you go back to it? Oh, I'm doing Ozempic. Okay, so you're going to risk permanent gastroparesis, stomach paralysis, and a whole host of other problems just because you don't want to do, you don't want to, you don't want to give up, I guess, powdered sugar donuts. I don't know what you can't, you're nauseous all the time on Ozempic. I don't know. But everybody knows about Code Red. They know they're going to get results. They know when they do the 10-pound takedown, in that 30 days, you're going to lose at least 10 pounds. I'm reaching for some beeswax that I'm going to say, my hands are so dry and I don't have my Cross O Meats salve in here. And Amy Beth, one of our employees, she has a bee farm up in Vermont, and she gave me this beeswax for my hands years ago, and they're so dry that I can't stand pausing this podcast to go and get some of my Cross O. So I'm going to use my beeswax right now, which is just fine. It's really good. Thank you, Amy Beth, for sending that to me. But I'm just like, oh my, it's still cold here in Boise and my hands are so dry. So people getting really excited leading up to the 10-pound takedown because they've seen results. They know during the 30 days, they're going to lose at least 10 pounds. The average weight loss is 12.2 pounds. They know they're going to drop that 10 pounds. They've seen thousands of before and after pictures from me over the last 8 years. 8 years that I've been doing Code Red like this. I started doing Code Red. I've been doing Code Red like this 14 years. But for the past 8 years, I've posted a before and after picture every single day without missing one single day. And that's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of photos showing you proof what real food, water, and sleep does without shakes, pills, diet foods, or exercise. So that you can't refute that because people don't believe what they hear. They believe what they see. So they see those before and after pictures. They read the testimonies. They've read the Code Red Revolution book. They've read all the other books that I've published. And they know that they're going to get results. And they're so fired up. They know that change is coming. They know they're going to start feeling better. They know their clothes are going to start fitting looser. They know they're going to have increased energy. They know they're going to have less brain fog. They know they're going to have a better libido. They know their confidence is going to go up. They know they're going to reduce medication. They know that. They've heard it. They've seen it. They might have gone through it before. And they get so fired up leading up to the start of a challenge. And then the first week, they're excited. And why is that? Because we don't eat foods that hang on to water. And we drink at least a gallon of water a day on a 10-pound takedown. So you're flushing a lot of water. And it's not unusual for people during the first week of the 10-pound takedown to drop a tremendous amount of weight because for every gram of carb, your body hangs on to 3.7 grams of water. So when you dump off those carbs, you dump off a lot of water weight in the first week. And people they discount it. They say, oh, it's just water weight. There's no such thing as just water weight. Water weight is very real weight. Just because you dump off 7 pounds the first week or 5 pounds the first week or 4 or even 3 doesn't mean it doesn't count. You have to drop that water weight off before you can start dropping other fat off. That weight has to come off. That interstitial fluid has to come off. And your body dumps it off, and a lot in that first week. So, oh my goodness, they are so fired up that first week. And because even 3 pounds, 4 pounds, 5 pounds, things button and zip a lot easier, don't they? And like your rings fit better. Your belt is easier your shoes. Cause remember we lose weight for the extremities in. So you're going to lose it in your hands and feet and your neck first, and then it's going to move your way. So your shoes actually fit better. Your rings fit better. You just notice even 5 pounds, everything buttons and zips and slips on a bit better. And so leading up to the 10-pound takedown, leading up to the start, they're really excited because they're just like, they know what's in store for them. And then once we start, they're eating meat, vegetables, nuts, eggs, seeds, seafoods, and fat. And they just start dumping off all the nasty carbs, all that water, and their body is getting rid of all the junk. It's flushing itself out. Remember, the body knows how to heal. The body can heal itself, provided there are no toxins coming in. So if you give it real food, water, and sleep, and you follow the food list and you don't cheat, you don't even have a sample in the Costco aisle, you don't have a piece of pizza, you don't have a Hershey's Kiss off your coworker's desk, you don't have a French fry from your kid's Happy Meal, you don't have any of that stuff, then your body's going to start quickly healing itself because it's crying out to heal. It doesn't want 60 extra pounds of body fat on it. It doesn't want that. It's crying out to heal. So if you give it a chance, if you give it water, you give it proper hydration, proper sleep, and you eat off the eat side of the food list, you'll notice it will start healing itself and you will feel. Now, the first 4 to 7 days, you're detoxing, so you might kind of feel crappy, but you're going to be dropping weight and you're going to be excited. And then the newness wears off. And then the newness wears off. And that's when you've got to have faith in the middle. That's when you've got to put your head down and grind. And if you listen to that podcast I did with Lori Stobart, who's our 2023 Rebel of the Year, we did a podcast here, about a month ago, Lori? And she dropped 205 pounds in 18 months. I don't remember I don't remember what I called the podcast. Maybe I called it 205 pounds down in 18 months. I don't remember what I called it. Whatever I called it. You can look it up. There was the newness wore off, pretty quick. And she was dropping weight steady. So you can do the math on that. 205, I could do the math right now. 205 pounds, 18 months, 205 divided by 18. She dropped 11.3 pounds a month. Divide that by 4. She dropped almost 3 pounds a week. So she was dropping on average about 3 pounds a week during that whole thing. And by the way, she's lost even more in maintenance. What she's done is she's created a buffer for herself, which is what we do in maintenance. And she's bumping up against that buffer. She's not bumping up against, she's staying well. I think she's 151 or 152. And her goal weight, because guys, she's really tall. Her goal weight is 155. So she's staying well within that 150 to 155 range. We want you to have a 2 to 5 pound buffer. So she's killing maintenance. She's one of our Code Red mentors. She is the director of the event director for the retreats coming up in September. I have 2 retreats in September of 2024. We're taking spots now. We're now open. We're taking deposits if you want to come to our retreat. So she talked about, even though she was almost 3 pounds a week losing on average, there was 18 months where the newness had worn off and she was doing the grind. Go back and listen to that podcast. Plenty of people talk about just putting their head down and doing the grind. If you've ever lost any amount of weight, you have to put your head down and do the grind. And you'll see on my documentary coming out, my documentary comes out April 12th, called the Code Red documentary, Diaries of Madness is what we called it. I want to double check the name. What the heck did we call that? Oh, I don't even have it right here. I should know what my own worldwide documentary is called, but I think it's called Code Red, Diaries of Madness, Insanity or Discipline. And it chronicles my huge transformation going from a very low starting point, competing in a bodybuilding competition, the largest amateur show in the United States, and placing in the top 5. I think I placed 3rd in one of my classes. So talk about the grind. I had to do the grind because I was excited. You'll see in that film how excited I was to get started. And then we got started. And then the reality of then I had, 8 months of grinding to do every day, the same food, the same workouts, the same cardio, the same everything, just grind it out. The newness wore off really quick. And you fall into this rhythm. Now, we lose at least 1% of our body weight a week on Code Red. So it's not shabby. It's not like you don't lose weight. You still lose weight. It's just that the exciting big drops, might not be happening, or, the exciting big changes where every day you wake up feeling better and better and better. Those might level out. And the exciting kind of the newness kind of wears off with Code Red, and it just happens. And you have to, that's where it separates the men from the boys. You have to see, okay, do you have what it takes to play the long game? How about in your marriage, like Monica? Like Monica on Friends when she said, I used to be a bride and now I'm just somebody's wife. How excited have we? I've been a bride a couple of times. And, when my very first time getting married to Jason Nickel, which is where I got the name Christy Nickel, and I kept that name because that's where my college, my boxing career, my company, everything was based around Christy Nickel. So I kept that name. I like that name. Not to be mixed up with Christy McNichol, which is I think a singer from years ago, Christy McNichols or something like that. Or Christy Knuckles, the praise and worship singer, Christy Knuckles, not her either. Christy Code Red Nickel. um, when I was married, I was so excited to get married to Jason Nickel. We had met in the year 2000. I think we were married. No, we met in 99, got married in 2000. We were married till 2005. The only reason why we didn't stay married, a couple of reasons, but he wanted kids and I didn't. That was the main thing. And when we got engaged, oh my gosh, that's all I wanted was to be Jason's wife. That's all I want. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, I just couldn't see. I mean, I just, and then the newness wore off and then we realized, geez, like I'm stuck with this person, I mean, I don't mean to sound cynical, but of course you're stuck with their in-law, their family members too. And that's a whole different podcast for a different day. I had a tough mother-in-law. Jason's mom was not easy to get along with. And I'm sure I wasn't easy to get along with. But it was tough. The newness wore off pretty quick. And it does with all people, they have the honeymoon stage, they call it. And then you're like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? Especially if you were raised like me, where you didn't have sex before marriage. You didn't even touch the guy. Like we were very, 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 very strict on that subject. You don't have sex before marriage. And then we didn't really talk about sex too much in our household. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even know really how to do it or how to, like what things were and terminology. I didn't know any of that stuff. And so talk about a huge disappointment. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about it. Huge shocker, a huge shocker when I first got married. And so if you were raised very strict religious like me, and you we didn't have the internet back then. We couldn't look things up. I just didn't know. We didn't talk about it. So I didn't know. We didn't teach a kind of crap in school they teach now. We just didn't know. So I was pretty shocked, and you might be pretty shocked if you were waiting for marriage to have marital relations. And so the newness wears off pretty quick when you get married. It just does. It's like Joyce Meyer talks about life is not made up of big moments. It's just not. Life is made up of a lot of little moments throughout your day. That a lot of your day is made up of laundry and dishes and sweeping the floor and feeding the dog and walking the dog and driving to soccer practice and dropping your kids off in carpool line and going to work and eating your lunch. And like, it's the same activities every day. Life is made up of those activities. And when you realize life is really not going to change a whole lot, then it's a big awakening, especially when you first get married. I know that a lot of people, when they hit goal weight, it is so anticlimactic. They step on the scale and they see that number on the scale. And it's like that magic moment that they've been dreaming about for months, seeing that number on the scale, and they see that number. And then you're like, you have this moment where you're super excited. And then you realize, I still got to get the kids to school. Like, I still have to get myself dressed. I still have to walk the dog. I still have to switch the laundry over. Like, nothing really changes. It's kind of like, well, okay, you don't feel any different. Like, you're excited and proud of yourself, but you don't feel any different. And it's strange. You have to be excited you can't wait for those big moments in your life, because most people have maybe 5 big moments in their entire life where they're really, really big moments. So you can't live for those big moments. You got to be happy in the little moments. So the newness wears off in a lot of things that we do. Another thing where the newness wears off, events like prom, or like we talked about weddings or big events. Like I've got my world premiere party coming up for my documentary, and I'm excited about that. And I want to enjoy the moment, because then it's going to pass. And then we'll be back to, like I said, walking the dog and doing laundry and just a rinse and repeat kind of a life. And I mean, that is just the reality. Even if you live a life like the Kardashians, which I don't think anybody listening to my podcast really does, then you still have mundane routine things you have to do. So you have to learn to find joy in those routines, because the newness is going to wear off. The newness is going to wear off in your job. The newness is going to wear off in your workout. You know, we talk about in bodybuilding newbie gains. It's called newbie gains. And when you first start bodybuilding, you tend to respond very well, rapidly, quickly to the program. And you put on muscle much faster, you get leaner much faster, you just show your muscles show up much faster, your body responds much faster. But if you've been an athlete for 25 years like me, you don't have newbie anything anymore. I'm turning 48 next month. There's no newbie anything. I have done pretty much everything a person can do athletically. And my body is just like, yeah, what else you got? It's not going to respond like it once did. It's not going to show those massive, big, like the newness is definitely wore off. So you have to find the joy, and you have to find a very deep why, because what's going to keep you to the program? What's going to keep you going? Just chasing that next high? Like I said, I think the average person has 5 big things in their life. When I won my $10 million award, the one that's right here behind me, one of my Code Red products made $10 million, one of them. And I had been dreaming about this award for years, and I got it in only 3 years. I mean, my company just took off rapidly and started just reaching millions and making millions. And I got that award. And I remember getting that in the mail. I had been dreaming about it. And I held the award, and I was like, oh, and I got my picture, and I'm still proud of it, of course. But then that was it. Then I had to move on. And I immediately started dreaming about the next award up, which is the 100 million. So you have to find joy in the little things. And you have to find something that's going to keep you grounded day after day. You have to have a deep intrinsic why. What is the why that makes you cry? And you have to have a short-term and long-term goal, because that newness is going to wear off. So what's going to keep you going forward? A lot of people say to me, I would love to lose 10 pounds, but 30 pounds would be like ideal. That would be amazing. And I get it. I've said it's my bodybuilding coach too. And so they lose that 10 pounds on the first 30 days, and the newness is worn off. What's going to keep them pushing forward to the next 20 so they can hit that 30-pound ideal weight loss? That's the kind of stuff. You got to have something down deep inside of you to keep you moving forward. 2 goals, a short-term and a long-term. Everybody needs to have 2 goals. That short-term goal is going to kind of help push you forward. It's going to put that little pressure on you. It's going to help move you forward to the one. I say within a month. A short-term goal would be within a month. And the long-term goal would be, 6 months to a year or 5 years. It depends on what you're looking at. A lot of women that come through my maintenance program, we weightlift in our maintenance program, because the idea in maintenance is to adopt some sort of a weightlifting and cardio program, some sort of a training program, because that's what we believe in maintenance is healthy for long term. And they want to put on muscle. They'll show me a picture of what they want to look like. And I said, yeah, you absolutely can look like this in about 5 years. And they can't believe it, like shocked. You plan to spend 5 days a week in the gym, an hour a day for the next 5 years, and you can look like this. Growing muscle is very difficult, and that's okay. You can do it as long as you're playing the long game. So you need to have a realistic, especially when it comes to building muscle, what it's realistically going to take for you. And a short-term and long-term goal is ideal. What do you want to accomplish this month within 30 days? That's your short-term. And then always keeping your eye on that long-term goal. 6 months to a year. I think that's what I personally, I have one. I have a short term and a long term. a short term and a long term. And my goals always change because once I accomplish that short term one, like right now, I'm recording this on March 10th, and I have a premiere. My film is coming out March 12th. So that's my next my next goal is getting myself a little bit tighter and getting everything in a group, making sure that I am the best person I could be when I have my premiere party, like that kind of thing. And so then after that, my next goal is going to be the Grand Teton Half Marathon. And that's at the end of May that I'm running with my coaches. Okay. And then the goal after that is going to be, and the goal, those are all my little short-term goals. They always change. But my long-term goal, my long-term why does not change because the newness is going to wear off and you have to have something that's going to keep you pushing forward. It would be great if you just had it, you just knew that keeping your weight off and having a regular diet, regular diet and exercise program in maintenance, like what we teach you in maintenance, is just great for long-term great health. Unfortunately, people lose sight of that. They don't really believe in it, and they won't really they have to have something kind of pushing them forward. They have to have some sort of goal to make them do it. Okay. Well, I'm not going to argue that. That's fine. I do too. But the newness is going to wear off. The newness is going to wear off of having a puppy. I was just talking to my mom yesterday. They have a 12-week-old puppy, a Great Dane. My mom loves Great Danes, and it fits her lifestyle because my mom's not very active. She is funny. I'll say, Mom, you need 10,000 steps a day. And she's like, how about 10,000 a week? Well, no, no, it's 10,000 a day, Mom. So the Great Dane is not a dog that really wants to be walked. They like to sleep all day long, and that's just the kind of dog. I would not want a Great Dane at all. Not even at all. But I'm very, very, very particular about my dogs. My favorite dog used to be a golden retriever. And I don't think you can go wrong with a golden retriever. I've had 3 of them, but I don't think one would fit my lifestyle very well. And so you need to have a dog that, and the Great Dane fits my mom and Brian's lifestyle very, very, very well. And so at 12 weeks old, the dog is already quite big. I think he's 30 pounds already at 12 weeks old. And so my mom said, oh, like the puppy, they were so excited about getting him and bringing him back from Kentucky. They got him from a breeder in Kentucky on February 21st, and they brought him back. And of course they were so excited. And then the newness quickly wore off because then they were like, shoot, we're in the puppy phase right now. We're getting up 3 times a night to let him out. We're potty training. We're having to baby proof the house. We're keeping him in a playpen. He's having to get kenneled. All the stuff you have to do when you have a puppy. You can't let your puppy go unsupervised ever. Puppies never need to be unsupervised, or really any dog. Unsupervised playtime. No, everything needs to be supervised with your dog, unless you have a very seasoned dog that you can trust, one that very well. But a puppy, no, very unpredictable, has to be watched 24/7, always has to be contained or supervised. And the newness wore off really quick for Mom and Brian. They were like, oh yeah, that's right. I mean, personally, I haven't had a puppy in like 25 years, like puppy. I got Hazel at 5 months old. I got Vinny at 9 months old. When I got my old lab Champ, I got him at 2 years old. And so Dixie, I got my yellow lab Dixie 25 years ago. And so that would be a rude awakening for me too. But a lot of you guys know the puppy, like really puppy stage, where you are having to do all that. Boy, the newness wears off really quick, and you are faced with the reality of, well, here we go. This is what we signed up for. Like, because everybody likes the puppy smells and the puppy kisses and puppy snuggles. Well, with a Great Dane, my mom can't even lift him. He's so heavy already. And he doesn't want to be held. He's a squirmy wormy. He does that toddler thing where he tries to get out of your, he doesn't want to be held. He's kind of in that like squirmy stage where he's not really a snuggle bug. And you have this in your mind, and then the newness wears off and he doesn't want to be snuggled. And he doesn't, his teeth are sharp and they'll bite you hard. He chewed up the phone cord, that kind of stuff. The newness wears off really quick, but we have things worked up in our minds, gosh, the newness wears off when you buy a new car. You're so excited about your new car. Then you got to make your payment. And then you say, like, how many of us have ever gotten a new car and we say, nobody's going to eat or drink ever in this car. And then a week later, we got, you got kids that spilled the orange soda in the back seat, and now the thing is trashed. I said the same thing about my Tesla. It was so beautiful. And I was like, don't touch anything. I have this guy that comes to my hotel that details my car every once in a while when I need it. And every time I say the same thing, you guys, every time I get it detailed and it is absolutely perfect, I say the same thing. I say, nobody, like, it's never going to get dirty again. And then it gets dirty. And then because the newness wears off, the smell goes away, the newness wears off. You start, eating and drinking. You just like, oh, I'll be really careful, and you spill. And, that's just kind of what happens with new cars. I mean, some of you guys are really good. But I know that Miles said when he back in the day, he got a brand new sports car when he was working as an executive, and he didn't even let his kids ride in it. He's like, no, we'll take the family car. Nobody is riding in my car because you guys are too messy and dirty. And he's extremely clean, Miles is. And so, he just didn't even let his kids in the car. Nobody was allowed to even get in the car because they just were too dirty. And he said, no, he put his foot down about it. I admire people like that. I do. If you can be that militant, more power to you. That's great. But 9 times out of 10, the newness wears off on everything we do, and we just fall back into routine. And you've really got to fight this. You've got to find things that are going to keep you moving forward to your goal, because you don't want to just stop. 90% of people that make New Year's resolutions, they stop by the second week of January. Stop. They're done. 90% of people have quit their New Year's resolutions by the second week of January. We're into the middle of March right now. And it's that New Year's resolutions. That's not even close to being on anybody's minds. They're not even thinking about it. Most people have quit them. That can't be you. You can't continue to go around this mountain over and over. That's okay that the newness wears off on other things. Your car, your new house. Everybody's taking off their shoes when they come in the door, and then you quit doing that, a week later, and that's fine. But with your weight loss, with your health, it's really, you're in danger of just gaining it back and just going right back to your old ways. And that's why we really teach you on the 10-pound takedown that you've got to change your ways. You've got to not bring the sugar home. You cannot bring the Costco muffins home. You just can't. They can't be at your house. There are 3 rules that Code Red Rebels, they follow every single day for the rest of their life. Number 1, we get on the scale every single day. Number 2, we drink our full amount of water every single day, no matter what. And number 3, we never allow sugar to come in our house anymore, ever. We just don't. And those are 3 hard and fast rules that we follow to protect ourselves, because the newness wears off. And you've got to put hard and fast measures in place to make sure you don't go back to your old ways. And I think one thing I want to say about marriage, although Miles and I are not together anymore, obviously we divorced about 2.5 years ago from the time that I'm recording this. There were obviously problems in the marriage. That's why we're not together. But I loved him more as the years went on. I loved him more 5 years later than I did when I first married him. And you always think you can't love somebody more than right now. And you do, because you learn more about him. You respect him more, and your love just grows. So even though the newness does wear off from being a new bride to just being someone's wife, as Monica said, you still learn to love deeply, and you love in different ways. And you learn about someone, the more you love and respect them. And I did feel that way about Miles. And although we just made a terrible married couple, we're still friends to this day. And we still stay in touch. And I still ask him for all kinds of advice, because he's so extremely intelligent. And when you've done as much as he is, I'm going to utilize that man's knowledge. I'm going to get advice on things, And so, yeah, you do learn to love. So, I mean, I'm making jokes about newlyweds, but that doesn't mean it's just all downhill from there. I don't believe that. All right. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle, When the Newness Wears Off. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for listening to Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. If you are looking for some hardcore accountability to get and keep this weight off, look no further, because I've got VIP Connection. This is the ultimate connection to me, just short of me sleeping on your couch. You're going to get 3 daily messages from me in real time directly to you. You're going to submit your weight every Friday. We're going to go over it in a weekly meeting on Sunday nights, and I'm going to give you feedback. You'll have access to a monthly VIP breakfast with me in Boise, a monthly VIP supplement box, access to any workshop, any PDF promo that I hold for that month. You'll have access to the Ringside membership. And best of all, you'll have a fully customized nutrition program written just for you. We're talking about over $3,000 total value for $397 a month, and you can cancel anytime. Go to coderedlifestyle.com/VIP to check that out.